Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Owatonna Today Show. I'm Deb Gillard, your host of the program, and today is Wednesday, April 25th. We are very glad you're with us, whether it is out on the internet and all the ways you can find us. We've got a Facebook page, and you can find us through YouTube even, or just Google us and get us through blip.tv, and of course locally here in the Owatonna area on Charter Cable TV Channel 8. So a lot of ways to watch the Owatonna Today Show. And we are always interested in hearing from you as well, so please take note of our cell phone numbers and email address on the screen throughout the course of the program. We look to you for events that are going on in the community that we pass along at the end of the program, perhaps guest ideas or show topic ideas as well. So please get a hold of us if you would like to. We have a very good show coming up for you today. A couple of really timely topics, very different, but nonetheless, these are things we talk about at this time of the year. Our first segment is with our Steele County Master Gardener supported segment, and we're out on location with Lorrie Rugg, and we've had some really interesting weather, so we're going to talk about what that may or may not have done to some of our plants, trees, perennials, and things that are either coming up or stunted in their coming up at about now. Later on, back in the studio then to talk Steele County SKYWARN with Dave Purscell. So we'll take this first break and head out on location. Please stay with us.
I'm Dan Branstead of Carlson Branstead and Company, Certified Public Accountants. We support the Owatonna Today Show.
Greetings from the site of your History Center. As you can see, construction is almost completed and we expect to begin moving in during January. We still need your help to raise the funds needed to burn the mortgage and reimburse our investors. We hope you'll consider a donation towards this new chapter in Steele County history today.
Owatonna Public Utilities, real people, real reliable, real progress. Making life a little easier day after day, taking pride in our community, listening to what you say, a voice you can talk to. We're growing with you in mind in everything we do. Owatonna Public Utilities.
Hi, I'm Jake Boyd and I play Hal.
And I am Amber Betcher, and I play Catherine, in LTO's current production of Proof, directed by Craig Berg and sponsored by Viacom.
Performances of Proof will be held Friday and Saturday, April 20th and 21st at 7:30 p.m., with a matinee on Sunday, April 22nd at 2 p.m.
And again, the following Thursday through Saturday, April 26th, 27th, and 28th at 7:30 p.m.
Tickets are available at the LTO box office by calling 451-0764. Don't miss LTO's production of Proof.
We are out on location for our Steele County Master Gardener segment with just one of our plant ladies today. Lorrie Rugg joins us. How are you, Lorrie?
Good morning, Deb. I'm fine, thank you.
And it's a chilly one, as you can see. We're out. I've got the wool blazer back out. Lorrie's dressed up. Leanne's shivering behind the camera, and appropriate because we're going to talk about frost damage and this wacky roller coaster of weather that we've had. You know, we were on with you and Margaret as the weather was winding down last fall, knowing that we didn't have a lot of moisture going into the winter and all those kinds of things, and we couldn't have almost had a crazier spring.
I know, and it was so warm so fast. I mean, I've done work out in my yard with my perennial gardens that I don't typically do for another month yet even. And
Exactly.
I've already done it, and it's like, do you do it? Do you don't do it? Do you do it? So I have started doing some of the things early, and it's been okay so far.
Now, on the day that we're out here, it happened to follow a rainy day. We've got our rain gauge there. We got 1.5 inches. That's good. We still need the moisture, right? We didn't have a snow cover to give us anything there.
Absolutely.
But one of the really important things we wanted to touch on, first of all, today was frost damage.
Right.
So here we're seeing these things coming up, blooming, things that are shooting out way earlier than they normally would, and we're going to see some damage, and have, in fact, from that. We've got some cold nights.
Yes, we've had. Well, last week we had 2 nights way down in the 20s, and that's really hard. When I got up in the morning and saw white out in the grass and frost on my neighbor's roofs, I know we were in trouble.
Yep.
And one of the things was my bleeding hearts should not be quite this tall, but this is what happens when you get frost damage. The leaves just kind of curl, and they're wimpy. They're not strong and turgid like bleeding heart leaves should look like.
Okay.
So this was half protected, so half of the bush is kind of not so good. half of it's all right, but I'm just going to go on ahead and trim these stems right off, because what will happen is more new will come out from the bottom.
Okay.
And the perennials are really going to survive just fine. If you've got frost damage on your perennials, just remove the wilted or the damaged foliage. They might kind of stunt them a little bit for this year's growth, but they're going to be in the long term all right.
Okay, and chances are we won't have winter after winter and spring after spring. I'm standing right in front of another little one. Now this is a fairly new
this was a new shrub
that you put in
year. So, and it grew really great. I loved it. I love the color of the foliage, but the foliage obviously it looks like it's a little more delicate just because of the finer leaves. And this was one thing that really had some frost damage on it.
Yeah, look at
it. You
it.
can see that it's kind of, you know, wilted down. It's just not looking the way it should. But I see a lot of new growth down in the center. So what I'm going to do is come out here and just kind of cut these branches off, and it'll probably produce a lot of new growth down at the bottom. Probably won't grow as big as it should for a second year shrub, but that's okay. At least I didn't lose it, and it's going to recover just fine. So that's, and it's kind of even protected right in here, as you can tell with around all these other things, but it's still, obviously it's a little more tender than some of the other things.
I would guess there's a potential to actually lose a perennial if in fact it's not in a protected area at all, and it really got zapped by the frost. It may be gone.
Yep, and it might. And if it, you know, heaved out of the ground in the spring too, and it's a little more exposed root-wise, probably chances are it might.
Okay.
The other thing, one of the reasons why we're standing in this bed, this is a serviceberry tree that was in full bloom those 2 nights. It was loaded.
Everything was in full bloom way before it was supposed to.
I know, so it was so pretty. And then when the frost came, the flowers, the foliage, the flowers just kind of fell off, as you can see. The leaves are still a little bit curled and shriveled, which kind of tells you they're cold. I don't know really what's going to happen to this tree. This is probably about a 5th or 6th year for this tree here. Okay. I'm sure the foliage will recover and it'll look okay eventually. Will I get fruit on it? I don't know. It just depends on how long it was really that cold. So in order to get the fruit to set, the blossoms needed to finish out, and they didn't. So we'll see. And this is one of the reasons why I planted this tree, because the birds love the fruit.
Oh.
So we'll see what happens later on. It's just kind of one of those, guess by gosh, we'll just have to wait and see.
We do. Yeah. This is really important now. I'm holding a couple of stalks of rhubarb, along with your pruning knife here, I guess. I'm not sure why I'm holding this, but this is really important. We wanted to talk about rhubarb that has certainly come up.
Yes, a lot of chatter on our listserv this last couple of weeks with rhubarb. These are just cut out of my rhubarb patch. These are good leaves. They're turgid. They're the way leaves should look on rhubarb. If your leaves are soft, if they're mushy, if they're brown, pull that rhubarb out, cut it out of there, because it is poisonous. What happens when rhubarb is frozen, there's an acid that they send back down into the stalks of the rhubarb that's poisonous. So really be careful of your rhubarb when you're out there looking at it this spring now, if you're going out there to cut it to use it. If it's soft, mushy, cut those stalks out of there and discard it, and you should get more new rhubarb coming up too.
And those will be fine?
And those will be fine.
Okay.
Actually, it's just the ones that are frozen or got frost damage on them. Those are the ones that are sending that poisonous back down into the stalks.
Okay, so if you're seeing, again, this is nice and firm, it's what we imagine rhubarb to look like, both the leaves and the stalk, you're okay there. Get the mushy ones out of there.
Get the mushy ones
I had no idea.
Well, and I didn't either, because we've really never had a spring quite like this where we've had this much frost damage to things. So, you know, I belong to the Master Gardener listserv, and they've really been chattering that up and talking about that, and we even addressed it at the Master Gardener meeting the other night. So just be really, really careful of your rhubarb.
Okay, don't eat the nasty stuff. We would hate to have any casualties or sicknesses because of that, that's for certain.
Exactly.
Master gardeners are, of course, at this time of the year getting very busy. There's a couple things we wanted to talk about. There's a plant sale coming up.
Yes, we're having our plant sale May 19th down in the park from 7 to about 11 or till whenever our plants are gone. That's one of our major fundraisers for us. A lot of the perennials come from our Master Gardeners gardens. A lot of people have started seeds. We'll have vegetable plants, we'll have perennials, we'll have annuals, we'll have all kinds of things available. So please come help support our Master Gardeners.
Okay, in Central Park. And just that one time?
Just that one day. We just do it one Saturday a year.
Okay.
And that's it.
Then the community garden, we were talking a little bit before we started. Wow, that's going to have a great second year.
Yep, for our second year we had 42 plots available. 41 of those are rented as of Monday night. So if you're interested, I would suggest take a drive out by the community garden. It's out by Riverland in the industrial park. We have a nice big sign that says Steele County Community Garden there, so you'll be able to see where the plots are. We're going to have a test plot that our Master Gardeners are taking care of, and we're going to kind of test some seeds and just kind of see how things develop. So it's great think for our second year they amended the soil greatly last fall, so it's even improved from last year's growing season. So we're really excited that that's obviously taken off. So let us know if people are interested. We'll expand it for next year.
Yeah, you kind of have to. I know you were really considering that this year, but with the second year you just don't know how it's going to go. So it's filled or almost filled, and you certainly want to know though if people are interested in the upcoming years. And there's plenty of room to expand if I remember correctly,
there is.
right?
There's a lot of room out there to expand.
Okay, so that'll be good. Of course, if people have questions, now you were talking about the listserv, and you were talking about being part of that. If people have questions such as the things we talked about here, what happens? My rhubarb's mushy. What happens? My tree looks like this. What do I do with this?
Call the extension office. We have our hort person. We have a 24-hour phone answer line. If you have a question and no one's there to man it, leave a message. We'll get back to you with an answer to your question.
Okay, so and the questions might be many and varied, of course, and we did talk about the dryness going into this last season and anything that you could do to mitigate that. Now, we are looking at some things that are holding up just fine. We've got some little tulips that are blooming over there. Lori was commenting that she's got the deer staying away from them this year, so she's able to enjoy them. And they're probably going to just push through and be just fine, correct?
Should be fine, yep. It seems to most things. I don't think I've lost a lot of perennials from winter, from what I can tell so far. I still have some perennial beds to uncover, but you know, so far things are looking really pretty good, actually.
What do we need to wait for to get other plants out? I mean, with the weather, I think people were a little bit like gung-ho, let's get some of the annuals out. No, they would have had to been bringing them in or they would have died now, right?
The last average frost date for this particular area is May 15th, so we have another month or so before you really can safely put out any annual plants. People are putting some cold season crops or cold weather crops in their gardens already, and if they have cold frames, that's great. But you can put some, you know, seeds.
Okay, you have to now help define what you just said there. Help me with those. Okay, so cold weather crops, first of all, what are some of the things that they could be planting?
Spinach.
They'll be okay.
Yeah, those are broccoli, cauliflower can kind of withstand a little bit of cold, depending, not quite this cold, but they're some of the ones that can tolerate a little bit of cold. Pansies also can tolerate a little bit of cold for something flowering if you really, really have to get out there.
Yeah, they're normally the earliest ones we see.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. But, you know, you can direct seed some of those lettuce, spinach type things into your garden. But, you know, tomatoes, green peppers, no, they like heat, and we obviously don't have enough degree heat days yet.
How about the cold frame?
Cold frame is something that's constructed in the garden to kind of protect it overnight.
Okay.
With plastic or a little hoop house or some kind of structure that you protect.
Okay, so as it gets really, really chilly overnight, they've got some protection from that. So again, questions that we would have for the Master Gardeners, they are it. They know how to answer all these questions, and there's a lot of you here in Steele County. Do you know how many Master Gardeners you have right now?
About 22 or 23, and we've got some new interns that we're really excited about.
So some great resources. Again, and call the Steele County Extension Office. It's affiliated with the University of Minnesota, and so you can find you that way, and all sorts of great people I know to help.
And even if you want to Google University of Minnesota and click on the garden page, there's a lot of ways you can find out a lot of good research-based information on that as well.
Okay, well, we thank you for inviting us into your garden, standing in the mulch, but before we get frost damage, we're going to quit this for today, I think, and on behalf of the Steele County Master Gardeners, we thank our viewers for joining us on location.
Hi, this is Barry Gillespie, president of ERA Gillespie Real Estate, where our pledge is to save you money, save you time, and simplify your life. And we're proud supporters of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hi, I'm Rick Smith, Golf Course Superintendent of the Brooktree Golf Course. Brooktree is an 18-hole championship golf course featuring well-manicured greens, tees, and fairways. We are open to the public. I challenge you to find a better maintained golf course for the money we charge here at Brooktree. Come on out and play Brooktree, a great golf course.
Mayo Clinic Health System in Owatonna, in partnership with Hy-Vee, Owatonna Hospital, Owatonna Park and Rec, Youth First, and local businesses encourage you to join the 2012 On the Move Community Walking Program. The program will kick off on April 17th at 6 o'clock at Mineral Springs Park and runs through May 21st. Our goal is to walk around the globe with the final destination of London, England, the home of the 2012 Olympics. The program is simple. Simply call in your steps on Monday mornings at onthemove@mayo.edu. Track your steps throughout the weeks, and we'll look forward to seeing you on May 21st at the celebration. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amy Swain of Amy Swain Hearing Centers. I know that buying a hearing aid can be confusing and difficult. My job is to make that easier for you. With 18 years of experience with many different brands of hearing instruments, I can help you make the best choice. Remember, when purchasing a hearing aid, you are entitled to a trial period, and during that trial period, if you are not satisfied, then you can try a different brand or style. At Amy Swain Hearing Centers of Owatonna, Austin, and Waseca, we believe you deserve to hear better.
Welcome back, and thanks again for joining us here on the Owatonna Today Show. It is Wednesday, April 25th. We hope you got good information being out there with Lorrie, one of our wonderful plant ladies. And we are, as promised, in studio with Dave Purscell of Steele County SKYWARN. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Wearing the SKYWARN orange.
Absolutely, it's the pumpkin colors.
Yeah, but it works, boy, because you can see you, can't you?
Well, that's the important thing. It's not, the shirts are predominantly for visibility, you know, and recognizing that the weather, that SKYWARN's important, but also for visibility when you're out spotting.
Yes.
Want to making sure that we're keeping our spotters safe if they're out of the vehicle, that they're going to have reflective gear or highly visible gear. Okay, so here he is in full orange, and we're glad to have you with us. For those that might not know, and let's take just a little bit here at the very beginning, because we have a lot of things to talk about what SKYWARN actually is, Steele County SKYWARN, if you can define it in a nutshell. Absolutely. We're looking at a group of volunteers, about 65 of them currently, and these are people who are passionate about weather. We will travel the area when severe weather threatens the county. We'll position our volunteers out at various locations throughout the county, and we're basically the eyes and the ears for the National Weather Service. The closest radar site is in Chanhassen, and that radar site's almost 50 miles away. At 50 miles, because of the Earth's curvature, the lowest altitude that they can see is about 7,000 feet. And most severe weather happens well below that. So we are really a very, very important purpose, being the eyes and the ears for that National Weather Service. We're the guys who locate what's going on and keep our county safe.
Okay, all right. And with that said, you have regular meetings, right? You're a group of individuals that meet regularly.
Yeah, we're on the third Tuesday, 7 p.m. at the Owatonna Fire Department.
Okay. Just a little bit before, we've got a weather radio here, and I know we want to talk about that too, but a little bit about who makes up your volunteers. You were telling me a little bit before we started about they're coming from all walks, aren't they?
It's a real hodgepodge of people that make up our volunteers. People that are retired, people that are working. Some people can get off of work to go spots because their employers really believe in what's going on. Some of them can't, so that's one of the reasons you need a lot of volunteers, is because people work different shifts. But we've got some unique ones. We've got a spotter who's blind.
Which I had to ask, how does that work?
He is an amateur radio operator, and he will listen to adjacent counties and other areas and provide us with information so that our people can be more efficient. And he has occasionally gone outside to pick up hailstones for us and tell us how big they are.
Don't do that. Ouch.
But we also have people within our group that were formerly almost thunderstorm phobic, where they actually would be very, very nervous when thunderstorms were going on. By educating them, that process of educating them about severe weather, they're more comfortable with it. And the great part is, she actually comes down and helps out at the Emergency Operations Center during severe weather. One of the safest places in town to be,
absolutely.
So might as well be down there.
Exactly. So really turned a phobia into something that's really helping other people.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is very nice. So a very, I think, eclectic group of individuals, but again, with an underlying want, or they want to be involved somehow.
They want to be
in the
involved.
Weather. They want to know.
They're passionate about weather. There's not a person in that group that doesn't really enjoy weather. And when you have a really quiet summer, they get quite bored.
They like to mix it up a little bit. We were
right.
talking earlier. I have a son who's kind of like that. Lived in Monterey for a while and said, well, it's really nice out here, but it's really boring.
That's right.
So, and was tracking what we were doing back here. So let's talk a little bit about weather radios. You brought one here, and this, I think, is really important. Now, I don't know if a lot of people have these in their homes or don't, but let's identify what a weather radio, what having one does in your home.
Yeah, basically this is a very important. If you don't have one, you should.
Okay.
This is the equivalent. It's a smoke detector for severe weather.
Okay.
Is what it is.
It's
programmed up so that the National Weather Service, when they're putting out watches or warnings for a particular county, they'll actually trigger codes, which this will be programmed and listening to, so that if you're carrying or watching for the alerts that are for Steele County, if a warning or a watch is triggered for Steele County, then that's when this will actually go off. And it's a nice enough alarm that it'll wake you up when you're sleeping.
Okay. Okay.
I've actually got mine on the opposite end of the house because that way I can't reach over and shut it off.
Like the alarm.
And yet I can still hear it. It works very, very well for that.
Okay.
They're inexpensive. This particular model is only about $30.
Okay.
You can pick it up at Hy-Vee or any of the big box stores in town. You know, some of the other places would have that. They're a fantastic resource. They're easy to program.
Okay, that was my next question. I'm looking at all the buttons and gizmos there, and you know, sometimes we have challenges with that.
They do a lot, but if you're having troubles with programming it, you can bring it down to the Owatonna Fire Department, leave it with Bonnie, and she'll contact our volunteers, and we'll have the thing programmed, ready for you to pick up within about 24 hours.
Very nice. Thank you to Bonnie for her helping with, and thank you to SKYWARN individuals for doing that. So when you have that in your home, just as a question, because I don't have one, but now I'm going to look at having one because I am kind of intrigued by weather as well. But does so it's constantly on, so it's able to get the severe weather, but is it chattering at you? It's not like a police scanner or anything?
It's silent at the moment, but we're actually listening to the Janesville radio. If you push this button, the weather button, it'll actually give you 24 hours a day, it'll give you the forecast, current conditions, those types of things.
Okay, so you can have it on and have that kind of information coming at you, or certainly it's there for the
I leave it quiet.
Okay, all right, good enough. Very easy to locate in your home, and it's a great resource, it sounds like, to have. Now, in addition to programming them and then people having that in their home, tell me how that would work. Say we've got a weather alert, and it is in the middle of the night, and maybe the sirens, would they be going off at the same time the weather radio is working?
The watches and things, severe thunderstorm watches and tornado watches, are going to trigger this, but they're not going to hit the siren.
Okay.
The siren is really geared toward people that are outside. It's not intended for people that are currently in their house. Sometimes you can hear it, sometimes you can't when you're in the house. But it's basically for the people that are outside to tell them something's going on, you need to get inside and take shelter.
Okay, all right. So it's working together. It's working with the radio, regular radio that we hear. It's we've got it on the weather radio. The sirens may be going off. All those things to get people safe.
Absolutely. And about the best thing that you can do with that is to actually take advantage of that. We do have great local radio stations which will be providing that information, and we provide information to them so that they can disseminate it to the public.
Okay, all right. Well, let's talk about those volunteers again. You said you have about 60, 65 currently. You talked a little bit about, we kind of got an idea about what they do. You're always looking for more, though, aren't you?
We are looking for more. We've got 430 square miles in Steele County.
That's a lot.
That's a lot to cover. And especially when you realize that our volunteers, we like them to go out in teams of two. And it's better, that way it's safer if they're in motion. But then the other piece of that is the fact that people do work different jobs, different shifts. And so we've got people that are only interested in spotting in the daytime. So if you are more experienced, we may be asking you about night spotting as well. But we only put people out that are, for night spotting, that are comfortable with it, because it is more challenging.
That are willing and able to do that, too. And you provide great training. So I'm not coming in cold if I say I would really like to be a part of this, but I don't really know anything.
Yeah, if you're the kind of person that when the sirens sound, you go outside, talk to us.
You might be a candidate for SKYWARN.
We might be a candidate. We'll bring you in, we'll provide the training. We do have 3 people that are certified trainers from the National Weather Service that are actually members of our organization.
Great.
We don't have any scheduled training sessions at the moment this time of year, but with enough interest, we'll be happy to put one together.
Okay.
And since we don't have to bring in people from the National Weather Service to do it, we have more flexibility about how large those groups have to be.
Now, just a little bit here, too, because, again, we could keep talking for a long time, but we had some cool weather and yet some tornadoes here this past weekend on Saturday.
It was a little intriguing.
Not right here. But
no, it was over, in the western part of the state. There was a boundary line over in that area, a mixture of dry and
people might
wet
say
air.
That's not typically tornado weather.
It isn't typically tornado weather, and it wasn't particularly large tornadoes either, but there was damage that came out of them as well.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, we had the tornadoes that hit in the downtown of Minneapolis. That was a similar day. Very cool. Nobody was expecting it. No watches up. And yet they were able to produce tornadoes. So it is important that regardless of the time of year or what kind of weather it is, you need to be cognizant as possible.
Vigilant too. Just briefly, I wanted to mention to our viewers, in case they didn't know, Steele County SKYWARN is out there providing information to, recently contacted by the Landlord Association, so that potential landlords can get information to their renters about safety. very importantly to individuals at our lodging properties that are coming through and staying, who, when we were saying, you might not even know what county you're in, but some great information in our hotels and motels now.
And it's just one of those things that we do. In addition to spotting, we provide information.
Well, great. Again, if you would like to be a part of this, we mentioned SteeleCountySkyWARN.org. I think Leanne's got the information there. A good contact for you is Bonnie down at the fire hall as well. The number is there, and she'll get you to the right person. But certainly if you're interested, and like Dave said, if you're the kind of person that goes out and wants to see what's going on, they might want you at SKYWARN. So please give them a call. And thank you for all the work that you do, and thanks to your volunteers as well. Thank you, Dave. We'll take a break for our supporters, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Molly Tichenal, manager and personal trainer at Snap Fitness, your 24-hour fitness solution. Snap Fitness is a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hello, I'm Shawn McNulty with the Sterling House Assisted Living, a part of Brookdale Senior Living. Our mission is to enrich the lives of those we serve with compassion, respect, excellence, and integrity. We are a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hi, I'm Jan Hansen, and I am at A+ So and Back, the fun place to be. We are proud supporters of the Owatonna Today Show.
So Tess, tell me again what your plans are for prom night?
Well, first I'm going to go over to Jess's house to get ready, and then we're going to go out to dinner. And then we'll do the grand march and dance, and then go to after prom. Jess's parents will pick us up, and I'll sleep over at her house. I should be home by 11 o'clock on Sunday.
Okay, great. Since you're going to be getting ready over there, you're going to want to make sure that you don't
Mom would
forget
freak
anything
if she knew we were really going over to
make a
Jess's
list
house
ahead
after
of
the grand
time.
march to party,
All your
since her
hair
parents aren't
stuff,
home.
if you're gonna be
The guys are bringing beer and some really good weed.
all the
We're going to have a
utensils in
blast.
for that, and make sure. I think it's really great that Jess's parents are doing this. You know, I haven't talked to her mom yet, so I want to make sure that she's going to be there. I think I'll just give her a quick call, see if she needs any help with anything.
Oh, don't worry about it. I've already talked to Jess, and we've got it all planned out, and I'm sure she's really busy planning everything and making sure she has everything she needs, so I wouldn't worry about it. You don't need to give her a call.
Well, I'm not worried about it, but I want to offer a hand if I can give her a hand, so I'm going to give her a call.
Oh, okay.
And it's time to wrap up our program here on this Wednesday, April 25th, with a few announcements. We mentioned to you earlier that the Owatonna Art Center has a call for their annual Steele County Art Exhibition. It is their 60th annual, and they are looking for artists to have their works on display starting May 6th. If you would like more information about the type of art that they're looking for, it could be pictures or sculptures, please give the Art Center a call. They will be accepting the entries now. It started April 24th yesterday through May 3rd, so a small window of opportunity here if you would like to be a part of that exhibit. Nancy Schroep Memorial Scholarships are being considered and awarded, and if you are interested, applications are available at the Owatonna High School Career Center or calling Jean Westberg 213-1403. Deadline for that application is May 4th. Little Theater of Owatonna is seeking their post-secondary scholarship applicants for the Sarah Foreman Memorial Post-Secondary Scholarships. Those forms, applications can either be found on the Little Theater of Owatonna website or from the County High School Counselor and Career Centers, and those applications are due May 25th. I had that incorrect. I think I announced it the other day and said June 15th. That's actually when they'll be announced at a Little Theater performance. So a little earlier than that, May 25th. You want to get that on your calendar. Steele County Historical Society, of course, has their grand opening beginning tomorrow with a ribbon-cutting ceremony at 10 o'clock on Thursday and lots of events going on through the day. The History Center will be closed on Friday to get ready for the art auction, and you are asked and welcome to be a part of that too. That is going on Friday evening, and then the weekend of grand opening continues with the plant and vintage sale going on Saturday at the History Center. Free admission also in, so those of us here in the area in Steele County can really get a good look at our new History Center and have a lot of fun with recommending that for other people. As we've seen too, Little Theater of Owatonna continues their performances of Proof coming up this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And don't forget, there is from 6 to 9 o'clock, April 28th, there were 3 groups giving concerts. That is this Saturday evening at the Owatonna Arts Center. You can give them a call for more information. Coming up Friday, we'll be talking Senior Expo and campground improvements at Rice Lake State Park, so we will see you then.